1980, and DCI returns to Birmingham, Alabama. We'd gotten in this cycle now of trying to be in a city for 2 years, and it was working well in Birmingham.
Is it better to drown or to burn?
Hostages were held in Iran for the entire year. Abscam became part of the
Would you rather get mauled by a wild animal?
Undercover sting netted a number of corrupt politicians. 1980 was the year that Sony introduced the Walkman. Oh, not the CD version. We wouldn't see CD technology for a few years yet. This was the cassette tape version. It was also the year that Mount St. Helens blew, that mighty volcano, the soot and ash taking care of part of the tour for the Western Corps that year. It was the year of the Miami riots as well.
You were down there then. Weren't you on the Miami beat then?
I was anchoring at the NBC station then, but that particular day I was out in a field north of Miami rehearsing the Florida Wave. I looked down toward the city and there's a column of smoke, and then there's another one next to that, and about that time my pager goes off, and that was it.
Real life interrupts drum corps.
I was down there for about a week. The city settled down. The politics changed, though. Ronald Reagan elected president at the age of 69. And it was also the year that John Lennon was assassinated in your backyard.
Yeah, literally, it's my neighborhood, and it really hit us hard. It's one of those close things that happens that you really feel a connection to. We had our own heroes, though.
Absolutely.
At the Winter Olympics in Lake Placid, not only was there that great hockey team, the Miracle on Ice, but our own 27th Lancers in the opening and closing ceremonies, the color guard beyond compare, the horns, everybody out there doing a great job. You kind of felt like your own family was in the Olympics.
Oh, absolutely. One of our own was there in the middle of that international spectacle.
And a new maturity for DCI. We have 4 corps that could have been top. It's the Blue Devils night, no doubt about it. They really start being that built from the night, strong, powerful machismo group. But at the same time, we see Spirit of Atlanta loaded with Georgia tunes, Georgia on My Mind, Devil Went Down to Georgia.
And a horn line from heaven.
We're out of this world. And then the 27 Lancers, incredible drill and color guard, George Zingali, just amazing. And the Bridgemen. They redefine hip. It doesn't sound hip when you hear me say that they did a circus opener and a Civil War suite and In the Stone.
In the Stone, great chart.
Oh, but oh boy, they redefined hip. A little bit tragic angle, unfortunately, in that the Spirit of Atlanta is wearing black armbands. You'll see it. Jim Ott, their composer and arranger, dies in a tragic car crash. Santa Clara, out of it. Mm-hmm. They try something completely different, something completely new. Fred Sanford, who's just an amazing musician, decides that he's going to redefine percussion writing, and he does it with a new view on ensemble. And in fact, so does Pete Emmons, the drill writer, take a new view of how to write drill. It doesn't all come together, but it really influences not only the future of DCI, but every other corps from then on out.
Welcome back to the Marching Arts Network. My name is Kanan, and thank you so much for joining us today here on this special look and this continuation of our series, The Power of G Bugles. We're finishing up the 1980s. I'm doing 1980 Spirit of Atlanta today, and Justin had just released 1986. We'll be jumping into the 90s in the next week or so. Anyway, as I said, I'm doing 1980 Spirit of Atlanta, and the reason that I'm doing that is that somebody who subscribes to us watched our last video, put a little comment in there, said, hey, could you do 1980 Spirit of Atlanta? Well, here you go. And to that end, if you're not already subscribed, hit the subscribe button down below. It'd be great. And then you can drop us a message, say, could you react to? And I will be glad to do so. About 67% of the people that watch our videos do not subscribe, which I know sounds crazy. So help us out. We got a goal to get to, we're looking at about another 1,000 subscribers this year. We don't buy subs or anything like that. So anything that we do is completely natural, and really appreciate your help. Anyway, 1980 Spirit of Atlanta was a very special drum corps. 4th year that the Spirit of Atlanta was in existence. And in the previous year, I think it was 1979, they picked up a chap called Jim Ott to come over and work with the horn line from the Blue Devils. He also brought some young upstart guy by the name of Tom Float with him as well. You may have heard of him. So needless to say, this was a pretty good drum corps. In fact, they finished in 4th place that year. The brass line actually was 2nd place at semifinals, and I think they dropped to 4th at finals. But no conversation about 1980 goes without talking about, of course, Jim Ott. So during tour, on the way to, I think it was on the way to a show, Jim Ott was traveling in a car that was involved in an accident and sadly didn't make it. And we lost Jim Ott, or the activity lost Jim Ott. I didn't, I wasn't marching yet, but the activity lost Jim Ott. And I can only imagine what that must have been like for the members to have somebody who's, stands in front of them in the horn line every single day just suddenly isn't there and will never be there again. I can't imagine what even that must have felt like. I remember my age out year, our executive director, Parker Silva, we lost his wife, Grace, during the week of finals. And that hit us very hard. And half the members didn't even know Grace, if I'm honest with you. But so to lose somebody of the magnitude of Jim Ott, I can't even imagine. But the Corps didn't fall apart. The Corps carried on. In fact, if anything, it made the Corps stronger. It gave them a rallying cry. So they went on, like I said, to that 4th place finish with a repertoire of Georgia on My Mind, Old Man River, The Devil Went Down to Georgia was their percussion feature, Sweet Georgia Brown, and Let It Be Me, which Let It Be Me obviously has become a very special piece of music to the Spirit of Atlanta. And I believe it was a very special piece of music to Jim Ott specifically. So, and you'll see that in this show. They make sure wherever Jim was that he could hear his kids. So, yeah, just a great drum corps show. So let me shut up, stop waffling. Let's go ahead and watch it, shall we? 1980 Spirit of Atlanta. Here we go. Love the old classic Spirit uniforms. Kids are playing to Jim. So you'll notice as well, if you think back to my 76 video, we were still talking about piston rotors. Everybody's on 2-valve Gs now. I think that just lends itself to be a bit more musical because the instrument's just easier to control. Quintessentially 80s look to the color guard. Now you'll notice as well, while we're starting to have a bit of more of a modern sound, we still don't have a front ensemble. So we've got marching timpanis, we've got marching bells. Oh, they had some players, I'll tell you what. Always a signature of Spirit of Atlanta in the 80s was they always had the best screaming soprano soloists. For those of you wondering, finals in 1980 was held in Birmingham, Alabama. If you go back and watch my video of tier lists for stadiums, you'll see I didn't rate this one very high. All right, kids, let it rip. What you have to remember when we're talking about the power of the G Bugle, 1980, the maximum membership on a corps was 128. So that's a full 30 less than what we have right now. They had to march bigger batteries because obviously we didn't have a front ensemble. So you're probably talking at most 55, 60 brass at the most. And Spirit is marching a big drum line. We have 6 bass drums, 6 tenors, 10 snares, 5 timpanis, 3 bells. I mean, that's a huge drum line. They had to get those members from somewhere. Those would have come from the horn line. But you could do that because you were playing on these G bugles that were just so freaking loud. That was cool. Oh, nice card. Tom Float really did like, I believe it's called Chugadas. Oh, I forgot the cymbals as well. Super clean crescendo there from the snares. You'll notice that the corps members are wearing a black armband. I hear you, contrabasses. Interesting equipment from the guard there. And don't forget as well, we're still in the tick system in 1980, so even things like those feet kicks are being judged. But we're inching ever closer to that modern curvilinear drill, but we're not quite there yet. But this was the beauty of the tick system. You see, the tick system allowed a corps like Spirit of Atlanta in their 4th year to be a top 5 corps. If you were clean, you got the number. So for those of you wondering, Spirit did tie for first in percussion in 1980. Marching and maneuvering, they were 6th. Brass was 2nd, my apologies. And GE, scroll on over here. GE, they were 4th. I'm not going to say anything else because you can't talk over Let It Be Me. They're playing this Jim Ott, so enjoy.
What is San Francisco like in 20...
Wow. That actually got me. I'm not going to lie. That actually got me a little bit. Yeah. 1980 Spirit of Atlanta. Yeah, wow. That was just an amazing show. For comparison, let's look at what just happened last year with the Spirit of Atlanta and their alumni corps. Bear with me one second. So yeah, let's go ahead and look at just a little bit. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but just to give you a taste of this same piece decades later. So yeah, that's the alumni corps playing Let It Be Me. And I love watching. I needed to play that because I needed to A, get my composure back, and B, it's just kind of cool to see the old guys still have it. And I always love seeing the reactions of the kids as well. What I wouldn't do, I would get on a plane tomorrow to strap on the red, black, and chrome one more time. But it can't happen for me. So why did I lose my composure? That's crazy. I think it's simply because I understand what that passion feels like, you know. And imagine if you were an age out in 1980 and this happened. I mean, I couldn't even keep it together. Anyway, so that's it for 1980 Spirit of Atlanta. I hope you've enjoyed today's show. Next up in my series, I'm going to be looking at, I think I'm doing one more 1980 show. I'm doing 1987 Garfield Cadets, and then I'm going to be doing 92 Star of Indiana. So, but for now, for this episode, that's it. Finito, done, gonzo, goodbye. So no matter what you're doing, no matter who you're doing it with, no matter where you're doing it, or no matter when you're doing it, hit the subscribe button, and you know what to do. March on. Ciao.